Twilight Zone, 1959, created by the legendary Rod Serling, wasn't just a sci-fi or horror anthology. It was a groundbreaking masterpiece that explored human psychology, social commentary, and existential dread. Decades later, its episodes still captivate audiences. However, the behind-the-scenes secrets of this timeless series are just as bizarre and fascinating as the stories told on screen. Here are 15 weird facts about the Twilight Zone that you probably didn't know. Fact 1. Rod Serling's clever censorship trick. Rod Serling initially wanted to write about contemporary social and political issues like racism, war, and government corruption. However, TV sponsors constantly blocked these topics. To bypass them, Serling cleverly disguised real-world issues using metaphors like aliens, robots, and time travel. The sponsors thought it was just harmless fantasy, but Serling successfully delivered his sharp social messages to the audience. In fact, this clever tactic made The Twilight Zone one of the first mainstream television shows to consistently challenge institutional authority right under the noses of its financial backers. Fact 2. The iconic theme song wasn't in the first season. The famous spine-chilling theme song we all know, do-do-do-do, do-do-do-do, wasn't used during the first season. The original theme was a slow, traditional, and dramatic score composed by Bernard Herrmann. The iconic, eerie guitar and avant-garde melody by French composer Marius Constant wasn't introduced until Season 2. Interestingly, Constant actually composed the short piece as part of a random library cue package, and he had no idea it was being used for the show until he heard it on television. Fact 3. 6 episodes were filmed on cheap videotape. In an attempt to cut costs during Season 2, the network experimented with videotape instead of the traditional 16mm film for 6 episodes. However, the tape gave the episodes a cheap look that resembled a daytime soap opera. Audiences hated the visual style, and the experiment was quickly abandoned, switching back to high-quality film. The visual contrast was so jarring that today, these specific 6 videotaped episodes still stand out like a sore thumb to anyone binge-watching the series. Fact 4. William Shatner and the Teddy Bear Monster. Legendary actor William Shatner starred in the iconic episode Nightmare at 20,000 Feet as a passenger who sees a gremlin on the airplane's wing. Shatner later joked that the monster's costume wasn't scary at all in person, resembling a fuzzy teddy bear. Despite this, Shatner's brilliant, paranoid acting turned it into one of the scariest episodes in TV history. The gremlin costume was actually so bulky and impractical that the stuntman inside could barely see through the eye holes while standing on the slippery, wind-blown wing prop. Fact 5. 4 young actors who later won Oscars. The Twilight Zone was a major breeding ground for young, upcoming talent. For actors who appeared early in their careers on the show went on to win Academy Awards, Oscars, later in life: Robert Duvall, Dennis Hopper, Burt Reynolds, and Martin Landau. Watching these early episodes today feels like discovering a time capsule of Hollywood royalty before they achieved their legendary, award-winning status. Fact 6. Charles Bronson's near-silent record. Action star Charles Bronson and Elizabeth Montgomery starred together in a post-apocalyptic episode titled 2. The weirdest thing about this episode is that there is almost zero dialogue between them. They spent nearly the entire episode communicating through glares, tension, and body language, setting a unique record for the show. This extreme lack of dialogue forced both actors to rely entirely on intense facial expressions, proving that powerful storytelling doesn't always need words. Fact 7. Alfred Hitchcock's indirect contribution. When Rod Serling was pitching the show, many network executives rejected it. However, the massive success of Alfred Hitchcock's presence at the time proved to CBS that audiences loved mystery, suspense, and anthology formats. Hitchcock's success gave the network the confidence to greenlight The Twilight Zone. Furthermore, both shows ended up sharing a lot of the same behind-the-scenes crew and directors, creating a golden era of suspense on the same network. Fact 8. The host didn't originally appear on screen. You're traveling through another dimension. Rod Serling's opening monologue is legendary. But during the first season, Serling didn't actually stand in front of the camera. He only provided the background voiceover. His distinct, deep voice and mysterious screen presence eventually led the producers to put him directly on screen starting in Season 2. Originally, the network wanted a traditional Hollywood star like Orson Welles to host the show, but Serling fought hard to be the face of his own creation. Fact 9. Rod Serling smoked up to 3 or 4 packs a day. Serling was always seen on screen impeccably dressed in a suit, holding a burning cigarette. This wasn't just a television prop. Serling was a severe chain smoker in real life. Due to intense work pressure and writing stress, he smoked up to 3 to 4 packs, nearly 80 cigarettes, a day, which sadly contributed to his premature death. Because of this heavy habit, almost every archival photo or behind-the-scenes footage of Serling shows him with a cigarette firmly clamped between his fingers. Fact 10. The To Serve Man, Alien book was a real dictionary. In the famous episode, To Serve Man, an alien race comes to Earth claiming they want to help humanity, holding a book titled To Serve Man. It is later revealed to be a cookbook for eating humans. The prop book used during filming was actually a real Dutch-to-English dictionary with alien-looking symbols painted over it. Eagle-eyed crew members on set could actually read the real Dutch words underneath the alien makeup if they flipped through the pages between takes. Fact 11. Serling created the show because his work was stolen. Before The Twilight Zone, Serling wrote a script for a radio drama, only to find out later that another show had completely plagiarized his concept. This incident infuriated him so much that he decided to create and produce his own show so he could maintain absolute creative control over his stories. This betrayal ultimately became a blessing in disguise, as his desire for creative independence gave birth to one of the greatest television shows ever made. Fact 12. Recycled spacesuits from sci-fi movies. Because the show operated on a tight budget, the production crew frequently borrowed props from big-budget sci-fi films. The spacesuit worn in the Season 1 premiere episode, Where Is Everybody?, was actually a recycled suit from the 1956 MGM movie Forbidden Planet. The same suit was reused in several other episodes. By constantly recycling these expensive movie props, the crew managed to make the show look high-budget while spending only a fraction of the cost. Fact 13. The real-life voice behind Talkie Tina. In the terrifying episode, Living Doll, a creepy doll named Talkie Tina threatens to kill her owner's stepfather. The doll was modeled after the popular real-life Chatty Cathy doll of the 1960s. In a brilliant casting twist, the voice actress who voiced the killer doll, June Foray, was the exact same person who provided the voice for the real-life commercial Chatty Cathy doll. This meant that millions of American children were listening to the exact same sweet voice at home that was murdering people on television at night. Fact 14. Rod Serling's unbelievable writing speed. Out of the 156 total episodes of the series, Rod Serling wrote a staggering 92 of them himself. Instead of typing them out, he used a dictaphone to speak the stories out loud, which his secretary would later transcribe. Using this method, he could outline a complete draft of an episode in just about 20 minutes. His intense dictation sessions were so theatrical that neighbors could often hear him shouting out different character voices from his backyard study. Fact 15. The banned anti-racism episode. Serling wanted to produce an episode titled The Writer, which directly tackled American racism and the Ku Klux Klan, KKK. However, network executives flatly refused to make it, fearing a massive backlash from sponsors and viewers in the American South. Serling was forced to shelve the script, leaving him deeply frustrated. This censorship deeply wounded Serling, as he believed that television had a moral duty to confront real-world hatred rather than hide from it. The Twilight Zone was far more than a vintage TV show. It was a cultural phenomenon that challenged the boundaries of human imagination. These bizarre behind-the-scenes facts prove that the real-world effort, struggles, and creativity of Rod Serling and his team were just as extraordinary as the Twilight dimension they created. Even decades later, whenever that iconic four-note melody plays, we are instantly pulled back into that middle ground between light and shadow, the Twilight Zone. If you loved traveling into this dimension of secrets today, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more mind-blowing deep dives.